I would like to call to order the City of Saugatuck City Council meeting for July 10th. Would you please join me to say the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Here.
Dean,
Here.
Gardner,
Here.
Keel,
Here.
Lewis,
Here.
Quincy,
Here.
Stanton, excuse.
Council, no, thank you. Council member Stanton has the rare opportunity to take a vacation day in the summer, so I would love a motion to approve her absence.
I'll make a motion to excuse Mayor Pro Tem Stan from this evening's meeting.
Second.
Motion Gardner, second Baldwin. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Mayoral comments. As I have mentioned to a few of you already, I had the great pleasure to conduct my first marriage ceremony in the city. So I would just like to offer my congratulations to Dawn and Brad. They came all the way from Indiana. And thank you to Jamie, our clerk, for helping make sure that their marriage is compliant with Allegan County in the state of Michigan. So thank you. And it was a really lovely ceremony and a lot of fun. So with that, I'll turn it over to the city manager.
Mr. Manager, I have a report in your packet. No comments at this time.
Wonderful. We are at item 6, agenda changes. Do any council members have any additions or deletions from the agenda? Okay, hearing none.
Oh, wait, there is one, in the minutes, I am both present and absent, and while I am quite amazing, I am not quite that smart.
Okay, very good.
And I love the idea and
You're omniscient. Okay. Jamie, did you catch
Thank you.
that? Thank you. Thank you very much. So that takes us to guest speakers. I don't believe we have anyone that asked to be a guest speaker tonight. So that will take us to item 8, which is public comment on agenda items only. Would you please limit your comments to 3 minutes, state your name and place of residence for the clerk's benefit. Anyone in the audience that wishes to offer public comment at this time? I see no takers in the audience.
Gary.
We're going to move over to the Zoom call. Yes, Gary, I see you have your hand up. So please, Mr. Medler, just state your name and address for the record, and public comments open to you.
Gary Medler, River West, Saugatuck. Comments are on agenda item 12 related to the 4th of July City Manager Party. The special events application that was approved by City Council indicated that there was no budgetary impact, 0 volunteers needed, no fire, and no police needed. In reviewing the invoices and the payments actually made, there's been a significant amount of money expended on the 4th of July event. And so I would ask that someone prepare a detailed expense report as to the cost of this event, because it appears taxpayer money was misapplied and spent without city council approval. And tonight you're basically ratifying 2 expenses that were already paid without city approval. And some of the expenses on those invoices, I can't tell whether they directly relate to the 4th of July, like the reserve deputies, even though the application indicated no police were needed, there were at least 8 sheriff's cars parked around the event. And additionally, I don't know why we're hiring a California DJ rather than someone local, or at least within the state of Michigan. And it was not promoted at all. Last minute approval of a banner, which didn't go up until the Thursday before, and it was billed as a hip hop DJ, but the music was basically canned, smooth soul music that you could have put together on Spotify or Pandora for free. So I would ask that someone prepare a detailed report for the public so that we know exactly what expenses the city incurred, including any contributions. Now, I know that all of us on this side of the river who historically have contributed a significant amount of money to offset the Fourth of July fireworks, we weren't even approached this year, and that's fine. But there were no indications of travel costs, lodging costs, or meal costs for this DJ. And I don't know if there are other invoices that are gonna come through the next council meeting. But I think we need a detailed accounting and exactly why these funds were expended when no city council approval of expenditure was made. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to offer public comment on the Zoom call? Seeing none, we will close public comment. We will have another public comment period at the conclusion of our meeting. We are now at item 9, the consent agenda. This will be a roll call. We have the regular city council meeting minutes from June 26, 23. You'll find it on page 3 of your packet.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
move to approve the regular city council meeting minutes of June 26, 2023, with the corrections noted from Councilmember Leo.
May I also offer that on there, I'm showing as absent. And that's
Could I
fixed.
get
I was here.
Could I get a second and then we could have discussion?
Second.
Second, okay, sorry. So we have motion Lewis, second Baldwin, and I'm sorry, Helen, you did have another correction before we,
Holly went to the trails meeting. I came to the council meeting. So
Mhm.
that was,
very good, thank you. Any other discussion on the meeting minutes?
No.
All right. With that, this is a roll call vote. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Baldwin,
yes.
Leo,
Yes.
Muncy,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Stan's excused.
Excellent. Thank you. That takes us to item 10, staff reports, boards, commissions, and committees. This you'll find starting on page 8 of your packet. We will start with the city manager.
Mr. Mayor, the report's in the packet. Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Great. Anything for the manager? All right, very
Oh,
good.
I'm sorry.
Go,
Yes.
oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I do. Do we have an accounting for the event on July 4th? Do we have that breakdown of all that came in? And when if I remember during the workshop, I thought we would be expecting that today.
Yeah, so all the detailed invoices, Peter should have, our treasurer. Peter's on the call, so he'll have all those invoices. I do have a basic breakdown of the Excel spreadsheet that I provided to Ross, who asked the question. I wasn't sure if all the council was concerned with that, but happy to send that out after this
Okay.
meeting. Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
no problem.
Yeah.
Great. Anything else?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just to kind of dovetail on that one. The information was expected this evening to see the accounting that we had at the workshop last Wednesday. We did not see the contributions. We saw the expenses at that point, which were $54,500. The accounts payable that we see this evening, I know there's some expenses in there related to the event. And as Mr. Medler mentioned, some of it's not clear exactly what was to be assigned to the event. I don't think this is an individual council member request. This is a request of the city itself that we should have a full accounting exactly where we are, because there's a gap. My understanding, there's a gap between the expenses and contributions. And that's gonna be a commitment that the city is gonna have to make expense for, probably at the expense of another event or another expense. 2 is, we were not presented with any agreements with any of the vendors. So I'm curious as to what the suppliers actually presented to the city for us to sign. I don't recall those coming to the council for signature. My experience is that it's legality is that the council has to make a motion to approve an agreement with the city for legal purposes. And I haven't seen those, so I would expect that those would be brought to us as well.
Okay.
So,
Well, thanks so much. So originally I presented all the costs to the council. And I made it pretty clear that if there was going to be a shortfall, that it would come back to city council. And so I'm happy to present all of the costs in detailed form because transparency is super important. No issue. Our treasurer should be able to provide anyone with any detailed invoice at any point in time. So happy to present everything that you need.
So when will we see this final report along?
We'll
with the-
work with, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so when will we see that report? Number two is who signed the agreements with the vendors?
So you'll see the report. Well, I did send you actually an Excel spreadsheet.
Right.
And as far as the detailed invoices, you can, again, get those from Peter. And then who signed off on what? I don't know. I have to go back and look at that.
I recall signing some of the agreements.
Yeah.
I think anything that was out of my spending authority, that would have been signed off by the,
Yeah,
okay.
by the mayor. But again, I'm happy to go back and look at it. No shame in my game as far as putting on this event. Yeah, again, I made it very clear with council that if there was a shortfall in revenue, that it would fall on the city. And sadly, some of the business owners did not step up to the plate. And so you have a shortfall, but it's not any different than a business association putting on a 4th of July event or a DDA putting on a 4th of July event. We've actually talked about this, I think, 2 times over at this point. So I'm just going to stop there.
Well, I real quick, I don't think anything about Shane. I think that I know that I've been asked and folks have just been wondering.
No problem.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, it's just like any other
We were
invoice that we
very-
have.
We're very impressed with how quickly you had, and very impressed with how quickly you put it together. But I do know that a couple of us council members have asked for this information and we're just, as soon as it's done, we
Yeah,
would like to
just-
see it.
Yeah, go get with our treasurer. He's going to have everything that you need.
Because
Just like
again,
any other
when we
invoice.
discussed it before, I was more than willing to help knock on doors if needed. And so that's why earlier on in the process, I had asked where we were and I still hadn't heard. So.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Go ahead. John.
So, okay, let's all remember that as the manager said, that we have discussed this at least twice, maybe 3 times, and we all approved and gave him approval to do this, to move ahead with it, because this was a last minute event. For any of us who've been involved with organizations, let me remind you, the 4th of July was just last Tuesday. So never do you have all the expenses accounted for in that short a period of time. You're still getting bills. We all know it. You get bills. So there's still bills coming out. So if we could be so kind as to be patient and allow the staff to do their jobs.
Most certainly. And thank
That's-
you, Council
We would
Lewis.
only want that ourselves.
Mhm,
So
And thank you for
please,
that.
If I may, I'd like to finish.
Mhm.
So again, this was something that fell upon the city at the last minute. If this council believes that this is not the job that our manager should be doing, then we should say that, or step back and let time to let these bills come in. It's just funny that this is happening. I just think it's funny.
It's
It's-
not about any of that. It's just about being transparent and having the numbers out. That it's not about anything other than that.
Well,
It's not about not trusting our manager or anything like that. It has nothing to do with that. Of course, I trust our. manager.
for those of us here that have some passion around this issue and would like to refresh their memories, all our meetings are recorded. I think if you look back, 4th of July was going to fall apart. We weren't going to have it. We could not find a fireworks vendor. We had a discussion at this table about the lack of a fireworks vendor. So we started looking for Plan B. Our manager stepped up, something that's really, in my view, way beyond Call of Duty for him to have done. He was able to pull some rabbits out of his hat. Plan B was the lasers. Lasers are quiet, so you need the DJ. We got the fireworks. And if you all look back and look at the transcript or look at the Zoom call, you will see me, the big fan of Austin Powers, saying, can we have both? Can we have lasers and fireworks? So the buck stops with me, folks. It was my idea. But I will also say, I didn't hear a lot of pushback from any of you at this table. You all seemed okay with fireworks and lasers.
I'm not
So-
saying it was. a
No,
bad
I'm not
idea.
saying you did, but this was decided as a council. I don't recall anyone. And if you look back at our past council meetings, they're available on YouTube. I don't think you will find anybody wringing their hands about the costs of putting on the 4th of July, the celebration of our country's independence. So with that,
Yeah, just.
is there further discussion? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. And again, I just want to emphasize, this is not a criticism of the event. This is just an accounting of the event's expenses and contributions. And out of all due respect to Councilmember Lewis, you can still give numbers, even if you don't have all the invoices and there's expected costs and budgets and so forth, and
Mhm.
what the actual contributions are to the state. I did go back and several people have told me this as well, and I look back myself. What the council approved was a $10,000 contribution and for the manager to pursue those events. In my experience on council, we have a legislative responsibility to make a motion to sign agreements with firms. And I would also appreciate if we would see copies of those and who, when they were signed, just so we have that in front of us, because could be potential liability issues if they weren't signed appropriately. So this is not about the event. This is not calling into question anybody's capabilities. It's just simple accounting. And people are telling themselves a lot of stories about this event. I'm sure most of you have heard them.
Mhm.
It's time to stop the stories by giving them correct information, and we should be able to do that pretty darn quickly.
Well, fair point, but I think the story everyone should be focused on is there is unanimity, there is consensus around this table that Saugatuck City Council should not be in the business of putting on events. I think we all have some different views about this, but I think there is some common ground that this may have been the last hurrah for the city putting on events.
Should be.
So I look very forward, and you all know how I feel about how some of our tri-community neighbors throttled back their contributions or eliminated their contributions to the fireworks. But once again, people expect the 4th of July in Saugatuck. It's very important to the community. They expected it to happen. We did it big. We did it different. We learned some stuff. Was it expensive? Yeah, it was. But this may be the end of it. If we don't get a group that does a tri-community approach to events, people need to be prepared. And once again, we hate pulling the rug out from under people at the last minute. And that's part of what happened with the scrambling, passing the hat. And I know Ryan knocked on a lot of doors and solicited a lot of our businesses, some of which traditionally have supported, but for whatever reason, elected not to this year. So with that, though, I think once again, and I'm glad Scott Sullivan's on the line, if we don't get tri-community cooperation around events that benefit the entire tri-community area, people are going to need to know that Saugatuck cannot put on events solely on the backs of its taxpayers. Let me say that again. Events cannot be paid solely on the backs of the property taxpayers in Saugatuck. We all know this benefits the entire business community in the tri-community area. This benefits people in the tri-community area that have short-term rentals. That's why the tourists come. That's why people are here lining up the streets for the parade, and they stay for the fireworks. So once again, Scott, I hope you're listening, because if we don't get better cooperation from our tri-community partners, and that means money, that means resources, we're gonna have to look at some other levers to pull, because we cannot continue to do these events in the backs of our taxpayers. Does anybody else have anything on this? Good. Unfortunately, we don't have our treasurer here because he could have participated.
Yeah,
in
that would
this.
have been great.
Yeah. Anyways, Peter's not here.
Well,
So
he was supposed to be on Zoom. He might be actually.
Peter, are you here?
That's unfortunate.
Okay, that is a shame. All right, staff reports, planning and zoning. Mr. Cummins.
Thanks, Mayor, and good evening, City Council members. Just one item I want to highlight. Our waterfront regulation assessment project is well underway, and we're kind of at the phase where we're also looking for as much community feedback as we can get. So 2 survey links went out on Friday in the news you can use blast. We also have a notice that's going in the paper on Thursday, and your city clerk updated our website. So these are front and center right at the top of the page. 2 surveys, waterfront assessment survey that kind of covers waterfront development priorities, concerns, and preferences. And then there's a separate survey to take related to visual preferences that actually has some kind of images with different building designs and forms and elements to kind of identify what folks are thinking about different things that they may or may not like to see along the Street South, Water Street North, and Resort zoning districts. So really encouraging folks to take both of those. We kind of split them so that way they wouldn't be, as long. I'm more of a visual person, so I think the visual preferences for me kind of hits, where I'm at, but both capture some really good data and information that really inform that process. So I just really want to encourage everyone to take it, and happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan, for being here this evening. Good evening. Are there hard copies of the surveys available for those that are not online?
Yep, so we do have paper copies available. If folks come to City Hall, we'll print you a paper copy. The notice that's going in the paper this week will also indicate that paper copies are available here at City Hall. So we want to make sure that we kind of, take care of any barriers that are in place. The other thing that we are offering too, and we're finalizing the schedule, but we're going to have some kind of different pop-up table with some larger boards that we're going to kind of pop up. And some different planning commissioners are going to kind of staff that, very neutral. They're not going to be leading anything, but it's kind of encouraging folks to kind of take a look at some images, kind of get some initial feedback from folks. And then we'll also be telling folks that the surveys online as well.
Thank you. So are there hard copies available now, or are they just not been produced yet, or do I have to request them?
The hard copies available. I just had to print whenever somebody needs one. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna need several copies.
Okay. Yep. Let me know whatever you need and we'll print them. Yep.
No.
Half a dozen of each, please.
Okay.
And also, right, asking you real quick, I know you just put it out Friday, but I know how Survey Monkey is. I remember we used to do survey with Constant Contact. And I've heard a lot of people in town open up and start taking the survey. Do you already know how many have taken it so far?
I did not
You can
know.
poke in real quick and just, I'm wondering, I just put it out over the weekend. It's Monday. Wonder if anybody hit on it or.
Excellent
Yep,
question.
yes.
So Dave Drossik, our regular planner that we work with, consulting planner that we work with, he created it with his Survey Monkey account. So he's got the data on his side, but we can find out for you.
Oh, okay.
certainly. So,
Anything else for Ryan? Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Brian.
Next up is DPW Director, Mr. Herbert, who's got a report for us. Scott, anything you'd like to highlight? Excellent.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. No reports in the packet. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Well, once again, I'll just say what I said to you in person when I saw you after the 4th. Thank you to you and your team for doing a great job for the 4th. I sent a note to Chief Janik thanking him for his team. I happened to see Captain Ensfield at the event along with Sergeant Haas. I personally thank them for making it a very safe, a very clean, really nice event for the whole family. So compliments to you and your team for really a great job on the 4th. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to double that. Yeah, great
Clean
job.
dump truck too. We like to-
Great job.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just great work on the sidewalks. I saw the front over by the Butler Pantry is completely torn up. So I suggest, though, I saw several people having to walk out in the street. I would suggest maybe putting up a couple signs saying sidewalk closed ahead of that so they can cross and get over because they were walking. It was could be a safety issue.
Thanks.
So you're welcome.
Police report. I don't know if Sergeant Haas is on the line. Don't see him. I will flag from his report, 4th of July went good. Parade and evening events had no problems. A couple of citizens stopped to chat during the parade and said they liked the parade route. So more good feedback on the 4th from the Allegan County Sheriff's Department. And as I said, that was my big worry on the night. I didn't sleep well leading up to it because after what had happened in Park Township, after what had happened in Allegan with a professional firework going off into the crowd. I just can't thank enough staff, volunteers, and that includes the city staff, along with our first responders and public safety officials for putting on a really safe event. It's obvious that a lot of time went into it and we spared no expense in making sure it was safe, which I think is important. Anything on the police report for anyone? Takes us to 6, the engineer report. Would you have Mr. Moxie on the line?
He's on vacation, I thought.
All right, very good. His report is here.
Mhm.
There's nothing on that. We'll move on. We are at B, boards, commissions, and committees. We have Mr. Fox here from the Fire District Administration Board. Oh, okay. So no report. No report, Dan. Okay. Do you mind if I just ask you though, how it went for your team? I mean, the chief was very positive, but Any other feedback on how the 4th went from your team?
Ask him to step up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I should have asked you to step up, sir. Sorry.
Fox, council representative
Yeah,
to
thanks.
the Fire District Administrative Board. Fire Board. I had a conversation, fairly long conversation with the chief, who was very gratified by the cooperation, whatever. Each year, I think, and literally event to event, try to do better. And there were gaps this time, some due to timing, some due to inexperience. Nothing that proved catastrophic, but could in the future be an issue. So you live and you learn. Whether you guys decide to do another fireworks, another 4th of July is obviously your deal. But the chief was pleased in particular, Scott is here, with the use of the vehicle barriers.
Right.
Which I guess were rented for this time. But that was a recommendation out of the fire board year and a half ago, plus or minus. And it's very gratifying to see that. That's, as we've said in that document that was furnished, y'all. Like a firework thing that goes off into the crowd, something like that happens. Somebody loses control of a car, let's be kind, and it goes into the, I mean, it'd be a long time recovering from that, from a public relations standpoint, whatever. So that really is important. But again, back to the chief and his gratitude, both for the planning and for working together with the other public safety people. It went really quite well, I think, overall.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's worth a mention, and maybe Scott can come back up, that he and the chief had spoke, and they actually took some drone footage.
Come on.
Yeah, thank you. I plan to, we've been in kind of research mode with the Archer 1200, just given that it's such a huge expense. And so we really want to do our due diligence and try the products out, see what's available out there, get comps, get some cost breakdowns, how it would benefit financially and as far as other ways too, non-financial methods where they'd benefit other departments. So fire, police, public works, volunteer efforts even. And so once we compile everything together, I plan on attending a workshop and maybe taking a little bit deeper dive into this at that time. Happy to answer any questions in the meantime, but we did get some good hands-on experience with them this time. And to my eye, I've been involved with parades and special events for quite a long time. And I think that this is one of the most data-driven experiences that I've seen with our parades to date. So with the Archers, it wasn't cheap. I think we spent around $2,100 just to rent them for one time.
Right.
And but what we were able to do is provide vehicle blocking coverage for the whole west side of the parade route along Butler Street. And that was pretty good to see. Like, I personally wanted to use them myself. And so I blocked off Hoffman Street as well as Main and Butler Street. So I was able to cover 2 intersections with just me. So there's a lot of value there to be added. I just want to do a little more homework and make sure that this would make sense for us before having a deeper conversation about it.
I want to thank you for taking the time to give me a call and show those to me. They were really cool. I kind of want to take my Jeep and run it against it just to see how it worked.
Well, you may be taking
you
might take your Jeep over to Eiley's afterwards if you,
Taking the time and showing us, the possibilities of something that, that we can always have on staff. They're easy transportable. And we kind of talked about the idea of, well, golly, if we had the budget to get 1 trailer of them, what could we do to get 2 trailers? And then that's kind of where we brainstormed and thought there's an excellent spot for advertising on those. And maybe businesses might want to help out and in return advertise on those. And maybe we can drum up some money so that we can have 2 trailers of those if we could have them. Would you have storage for 2 trailers? Would you have a place?
We'll find a way.
I just,
Yeah.
in a pipe dream, if we were able to get them. Yeah.
I had just some thoughts, I've seen some other public works departments that they could be something as simple. They don't need to be heated or anything like that. It could be something as simple as like a shipping container or something that's on the
Right.
property. We have enough space up at Public Works that would keep them out of the elements or shrink wrapping or
Right.
something.
Right.
But yeah, hopefully it's probably one of those things that we start a little bit slow, and maybe, I'm kind of leaning towards the direction of recommending that we consider purchasing a trailer with 8 units on it. And then like you said, to your point, trying to come up with some creative solution out, the CVB or some of our other friends out there that might be able to contribute and make the second trailer a little more friendly for us
Yeah.
financially.
Right.
So, but yeah, we got some really cool, so working with Greg Janik on this, it was really great. So he deployed a drone team. So we'll get some really awesome visuals, looking down on it about the exact layout. And I think that'll really kind of drive it home to everybody to, and then, there were, as far as using them, there were a couple little glitches, but I think if you use them one time, you kind of get the technique, and the technique is pretty important. So if you don't do it as instructed, you could take a tumble.
They are very heavy. I
700
was trying to
pounds.
push one with a pulley and then, they're very
Mm.
heavy.
Yeah, they are.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott.
You're welcome.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Great. That covers fire. We're now at number 2, interurban. Hopefully it was a good night for the interurban team, Gregory.
It most certainly was. We'll have our next meeting on the 18th, Tuesday, the 18th, our monthly meeting. However, it is official. I told you, I think we got it, but we actually did. We received a $250,000 grant from the federal government.
Lovely.
For a much needed building expansion. We're going to have 2 bathrooms now. And then we'll be able to get all those roofing updates we've been needing, and that vestibule in the area of the front, you can just, when you drive by, you can tell it's in bad condition. And so that'll all be replaced as well. So super excited about that. Very happy with Phyllis over the years. She is one busy woman. I don't know how she does everything that she does, but she's a pleasure to be our director on that board. She's just a joy to work with. So.
Great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Anything for Gregory? No. Cal Lake, I don't know if we have anyone from Cal Lake on. I don't see anyone. Okay. Lauren covers the Harbor Authority, so I don't think we have a Harbor Authority report. I don't see ZBA on. Okay, moving on. Garn, anything on the Historic District?
Yes, the Historic District Commission met Thursday evening. I had family surprise me and missed the meeting in its entirety, but I did go back and watch the recording. So they actually spent quite a bit of time in discussion about the project at 727 Butler. And that's going to take quite a bit of work. So they approved half of the project. And then I know Dan Pinoza is going to come back with the other half, but it's a big undertaking that he's trying to do there. And I personally applaud what he's trying to do, bring it really almost as much back to its original form as, back, they have a great picture in the packet of what was it, the 50s or something like that. And so it's a nifty project. So I really applaud Dan for taking that on. The other thing that was mentioned in the public comment that I thought everybody would be of interest, that at 246 Culver, the old Toulouse place facility that's been empty ever since I moved to town. The folks were there to introduce themselves. And his name was Brooks Twist, which I thought was a most interesting name. But they're looking to put a brew pub and distillery in there. Both of them have professional backgrounds in the beer business. So I think that's really going to be a neat use of that space that's been empty for a long, long time. So it's kind of piggybacking on Gregory's comments the other day with the James at the front,
Mhm.
and now that going on the side. I think that'll be really nice.
Mhm.
So that
Very
was the
good.
gist of it.
Very good.
Yep.
Thank you. That covers Historic District Commission, Planning Commission. Russ, anything?
Meet a week from this Thursday, the 20th.
Great. Lauren was kind enough to send me an update on the short-term rental task force. I've got it here on my phone. They will be hosting a community forum Tuesday, July 25th from 6:30 to 8:30 PM. Location TBA, although they are hoping for the high school. Prior to that, they will have another meeting on Thursday, July 20th from 3 to 5. Everyone, as always, is welcome to attend in person or by Zoom. So compliments to Lauren for sending that little update before she headed out of town.
And then July 25th, what's the date on that for the forum or the time?
I
It's
think
from
she
what to
she
what?
said it was an evening. I think she said 6 to 8.
6 to 8, and I'm sorry, 6:30 to 8:30.
6:30 to 8:30.
And where again is that at?
They're hoping to do the high school according to Lauren. They're hoping.
They
to
don't
use
have the
high school.
location yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So they're hoping for the high school for that. Great. So that covers that. Parks and Public Works, Helen?
Yeah, we are having our kickoff meeting for the Tri-Community Master Plan. the Parks and Rec, get that done. And so looking forward to collaborating with our communities and the school district. For whatever reason, Saugatuck has gone solo on that in the past, and I don't think that's an efficient use of our time or money. So we're going to collaborate, and I'm looking forward to working with our folks.
Great. Thank you. Now motorized trail, Blue Star Trail.
Nothing to report. We're still in the planning stages for our meeting with the engineers and getting everybody at the table. So
Great. And we still have the placeholder for tri-community recycling. Any new updates?
Nothing to report.
Okay, great. Thanks. We're at item 11, request for payment. We have none. This takes us to item 12, approval of accounts payable. This will be a roll call vote. We have accounts payable in the amount of $199,000, $170.94.
Mayor,
Go ahead, Gar.
move to approve accounts payable in the amount of $199,170.94.
Excellent.
second,
Motion Lewis, second Leo. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just a
Go ahead.
question. I see RAF Electric for 2,998.35 for Coughlin Park. Was there repairs done down there? Do we know what that was? Item 34, it's on page 30,
Coughlin, how much? I'm sorry.
2,998.35.
I think we did electrical inspection at Coughlin for plugs. Yeah, it's got.
You're right.
I'm just getting a head nod, yeah. So electrical repairs.
Thank you.
Anything else? If nothing else, this is a roll call. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Muncy,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Leo,
yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Baldwin,
Yes.
Stanton's excused.
Very good. Motion carries. We have no introduction of ordinances tonight. We have no unfinished business tonight. That takes us to item 15, new business. Our first item is recommendation of award and engineering services for road work. Roll call vote. You can find it on page 32 of your packet. Mr.
Mayor?
Go ahead, Garn. I mean, sorry. Russ,
I
sorry.
make a motion to approve an award to Crone Excavating LLC in the amount of $475,198 for storm sewer system improvements and resurfacing work on West, East, Tacken and Taylor Street and reconstruction of North Maple Street from the lift station area to North Street, including a contingency of $36,002, and approve the construction engineering services for $68,800 for a grand total of $580,000.
A second?
Motion Gardner, second Muncy. Any discussion on this?
No, just unbridled excitement. This
Yeah.
is good
Yeah,
stuff.
this is good work.
Love seeing infrastructure work done. Absolutely. Any other discussion? If not, this is a roll call. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Gardner,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Muncy,
Yes.
Leo,
Yes.
Baldwin,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Stanton's excused. Motion carries.
Very good. Thank you. This takes us to 15B under new business, water AMP proposal. Another roll call vote. You'll find it on page 37.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
motion to approve the water asset management plan proposal as presented in the amount of $23,400.
Second.
Motion Lewis, second Gardner. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I would just make a comment that I made at the workshop is that I was at the 4th of July event and I had a person that I know had come up and asked me about this. And so people actually read these packets because I was kind of surprised because he asked me about the proposal and he made mention about Baker Tilly, and he's a multi-billion-dollar fund manager out of Chicago. And he said that they've used Baker Tilly in the past. He said they're a very, very prestigious firm. They're exactly the firm that we should be hiring for this work. So it's really just, I was pleased to hear that someone actually reads these things besides us. And two, is that we've actually identified a good firm based on this person's opinion. So I'm in full support of this.
I too am glad that people are reading these packets, because I have been concerned that, for a lot of the discussions that I have with constituents in town, I don't hear a lot of people worrying about their water. And, the report, the presentation we had a few weeks ago was an eye opener to me. We have 100-year-old plus water main running down Butler Street. Should that main fail, you can imagine what it could do to our summer. As I said during our workshop, I was at an event in Grand Rapids last Wednesday with the mayor of Grand Rapids, Congresswoman Schulten, the EPA Administrator Regan, and several other folks talking about the importance of infrastructure. While I was there, we watched them remove this lead pipe. This is a lead service line. This was removed from a young family's home. There's about 14,000 of them in Grand Rapids that need to be replaced. But there's about at least 230, maybe 400, maybe more in Saugatuck that need to be replaced. And so I really hope people are paying attention to this, because if we don't get the grants, if we don't get the loans, people's water bills go up significantly to pay for this infrastructure work. And that's why I'm giving this to Ryan. Ryan, if everybody wants to look at it, but I'm giving that to Ryan. I want Ryan to keep that in his office. So next time folks come to him and say, you know, I want you to drop everything and put on an event and go door to door and try to get 200 here, 1,000 there, 5,000 there. I want him to show people that lead pipe in a very friendly, in a very gentle manner, but explain that replacing one of these to a single family home currently costs $10,000 for one home. So you may use this as a visual aid, and hopefully it will keep us all focused on the prize here, which is infrastructure. You know, we are kicking butt on telecoms, and we are going to kick butt on this. And I'm pleased that we just voted for investment in roads, but let's keep focused. I mean, that's what we have our strategic planning for. So let's keep focused. With that, unless there's any other discussion, did we get a motion on this one? Yes, we did. Yes, we did. So would the clerk please call the roll?
Leo,
Yes.
Muncy,
Yes.
Baldwin,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Stan's excused, motion carries.
Very good. That takes us to item 16. This is public comment. This is open mic. So 3 minutes. Anyone in the audience that wishes to approach, please do. And if you could state your name and address for the clerk's benefit. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, and Ryan, particularly with your lead pipe. You scare me. Sheila Denman, owner of property at 860 Simonson. And we received notification back in April, I believe, from Ryan that our hardscape needed to be removed from our property. We just took ownership of this property in September. So we are new owners. We did not put the hardscape in. The hardscape is sitting well away from the street and allows for a parking area for the nature preserve. So our request is to have a formal agenda item for future council meetings to review this request and ask that it not be enforced is our request.
Thank you for the comment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. CJ, please approach and for the record.
CJ Badrak, Lake Street, Saugatuck. Summer's been great. My golf needs more practice. Participating in parade is fabulous. So there's been a lot of discussion about how we didn't get money from some of these businesses and some of the people didn't provide any money. At the same time, we're having these meetings about how we want to tax them. We want to tax their customers and we want to increase their other fees that they're paying elsewhere. So I think that's sort of contradictory. We've talked about the financial impact that we're talking about with short-term rentals and different things. And we never really did a Saugatuck study. We have a South Haven one that's never been in the packet for city council or for planning or for short-term. But that's a significant thing that should be looked at is what is the financial impact of, and some of it you're seeing because these businesses that previously gave money didn't this time. That could be part of the reason. When you're a hammer, sometimes all you see is nails. And I feel like a lot of the groups have that, some of that mindset. That's it.
Thank you.
Thanks, CJ.
Dan Fox, this time as citizen Saugatuck. I wasn't going to comment, but a couple of things. First, on the kind of a follow-up to Scott's thing in the short chat about the Archer barriers, street things or whatever, and wanting to get a second trailer full, which I would thoroughly endorse, cost being no object. But cost is an object, and one of the ways potentially to defray that, maybe cut it in half, is to partner with Douglas, who has the same need we do. And oftentimes, not every time, but oftentimes at sort of complementary times. So it isn't like they're would be in demand at the same times. And on the fire district board, I mean, we found Douglas pretty cooperative on a number of fronts. So maybe something worth looking at. And sort of related to that, with apologies, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible. The comment, particularly as it related, you're saying you were glad Scott Sullivan's on the line, which to my way of thinking is a kind of a quiet request to please cover this as it's being presented. And I understand that. I've tried to control the press most of my entire adult life, one way or another. But I think, if you look at the cost sharing between the jurisdictions, I think part of the issue with 4th of July and why they didn't answer the call was because it was the city, the government asking for money. Very different thing when it's community service, Rotary kind of deal. Almost anybody is kind of, you feel bad about turning them away. So you might not give them 1,000, but you might give them 5, whatever it is. So when we say that we think or we imply that the other jurisdictions haven't done their part, I'm afraid, Douglas doesn't ask us for money for the Halloween parade, and a lot of Saugatuck people, I'll bet everybody in this room has been to that. Cooperation amongst those communities is important. It's tough to get and it's tough to maintain. So my only caution is, Scott, if you're listening, Sullivan, be nice. Don't make a controversy out of this. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
I'm here.
Dan, Scott, would you like to offer public comment?
Oh, no.
All right, very good. I think we've covered the room. Is there anybody on the Zoom call that also would like to make a public comment? Oh, Jane is waving and.
Yeah, I'm always waving, you know that.
All right, Jane, please, for the record, just your name and address, please.
Okay, Jane Underwood, 130 Perryman Street. Okay, 4th of July was a really fun day. The parade was great. It was nice to meet Scott's wife and young family. We had a fine time talking. The fireworks were fantastic. The laser show was a little, I think the word might be tepid. And many people felt that when they actually got going, it was just kind of, we wanted to watch the fireworks. So they might want to think about lasers in the future. Okay, I have a question for the city. Can we possibly post the water temperature on the city website? Sunday around noon, I tried to go up to the beach to check the gatehouse. The line of cars was was back to the first gate for Dune Grass. So Jane, being a Chicago driver, did a Yui. It would be nice maybe to post the weather in the summer and the lake temperature on the website. Would that be possible?
Jane, thank you for the comment. We're not in the deliberative part of the meeting, but your comment was noted and we'll have to leave it there, but thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the Zoom who wishes to offer public comment? Don't see any hands raised. Jamie, do you see any hands raised? No. With that, we will close public comment. We're at item 17. We have correspondence from Mr. Dan Gogan. That takes us to council comments. Helen, would you like to kick it off?
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
Over to you, Gregory.
I'll repeat what I said in my council comments Wednesday. I had a great time with all of you, all of us council folks in the dump truck. Ryan, that was a great idea to have us all together. And it was just nice to ride around in that big dump truck. I thought the parade was wonderful. I'd also like to thank Bertie Holly, who took on this great thing. It was one of the better parades that we've seen in a couple of years. Not everybody was happy about the new parade route, but you know what? She put on the parade. She can take it wherever she wants. And that's what I thought. She was willing to take on this big thing. And, but it was a great crowd. It felt like it was pre-pandemic time during that parade. And it felt good because the last few years, we've been fighting with the way we wanted it. It certainly didn't work out so hot, but I think this year, and I hope that Bertie continues doing it. Yeah, had a great time. Great 4th of July. I also enjoyed dancing with Holly over with our DJ, and we danced and enjoyed the lasers as well. I like the lasers myself. I kind of was like shooting for a drone show actually, but that's going beyond everything. But I enjoyed the lasers. I enjoyed the fireworks as well, and I had a great time. That's it.
Thank you, Gregory. Thank you.
I would just concur. It was a great 4th of July, and I think it's sad to me that we always have to fight about funding events because we have never historically, this council never set up a DDA or any sort of funding mechanism. So it's always going to be, it's like a family fighting over limited resources. And it's just sad that, something that we all look forward to in a week that we're all entertaining, and that I think we had a really successful event. And I think Ryan sort of saved the day, but it comes at a price. And it's just, it's a break with our unity that South Haven and Holland, they don't have to have this sort of, how do you pronounce the word, interscene or interfamily squabble.
Yeah.
So I'm sad about that, but I concur with what you said. It was a blast dancing.
It was.
I enjoyed the DJs. I think lasers are maybe, it's coming. It's something that's coming, and we'll see a lot of different things in the future. I look forward to seeing the laser show Venetian, and it's just something that's coming along. And I thought it was a great day and a great event, and I can't imagine what 4th of July would have been like without that. So.
Thank you, Holly. Over to you, Russ.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, it was great being up on the dump truck. I want to thank Cody, the Public Works employee, for driving us safely down the streets. It was wonderful, and had a lot of great compliments about the parade units, and a lot of people having fun, beautiful day. So thank you, enjoyed it.
Carm.
All right, yeah, and thank you. I'll reiterate, thanks to Bertie for all her time and effort, and thank you to Ryan and the staff for the entire day. It was really enjoyable to sit over on the balcony and listen to the music, which we could hear quite clearly. I also shared with you all today on another note, a latest update from the MML regarding the budget. So when I see those come across that are really kind of short and sweet and to the point, where you can see where the monies are, how much is going to be appropriated, there's quite a bit of increase on revenue sharing, which will even help us a little bit. So that's
Very
it.
good. Thank you, Garn. I'll wrap things up. I'll keep it on the 4th of July. Once again, I am so happy that we put on a successful and safe event. Dan, your point is well taken, and you're absolutely right. It is difficult for a municipality to, respond to another municipality and says, yes, I will pay you, the other municipality, something. I do think, to Holly's point, that this could be solved with a business association. So I apologize if my comments seemed particularly pointed toward my neighbors in the tri-community area, because I do really value cooperation. And as Mayor Donovan and I said during the parade many times, unity, we're all about unity. So apology if need be. I did not mean to be harsh about that, but I guess I'm just a little bit frustrated that, our city manager had to do something that was a real heavy lift, and he really, really put himself out there. His family, contributed, a lot of us contributed things in kind to try to pull this off, which is a great example of community, frankly. When people just sort of say, you know, you can stay, so-and-so can stay at my place. One of the employees at Mike's shop went and picked up the DJ, and, you know, you had family that was doing artwork for it. And, you know, we had a lot of folks volunteering. Birdie Holly volunteered her time to make a great event, and she always brings so much spirit to the event. So I'll leave it with unity, and I'm looking forward to working together with our neighbors in the tri-community to find a solution that is fair to everyone, because, you know, the 4th of July happens over Cal Lake, which is a shared body of water. And so it can be viewed and enjoyed by people throughout the tri-community area. And I do believe it does benefit everyone. So I hope we can create a summit meeting that would bring together the business community and the municipalities to try to find a way where we can tackle not only this event, but other events in a more holistic fashion. And with that, I am really, really excited to launch the Saugatuck Shovel Brigade on December 12th. So I'm already looking forward to my next parade. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion Muncy, second Gardner. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Meeting adjourned.